Yeah. All right. Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this webinar today. As you may know, I'm Imad Kanouni from Midsun IKM, I'm International Business Unit of Midsun Group, coming to you from the beautiful city of Vienna in Austria. Since 2016, I run the division that provides silicone protective covers for wildlife protection and flashover mitigation for substations and transmission lines. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you might know that in October, I will be attending a webinar related to the topic of today. It's called Wingspan in October. This event is meant to build partnership between BirdLife friendly energy transmission, and it's organized by SafeLines4Birds, a European organization that coordinates the effort of nature protection NGOs and grid operators to reduce the impact of power lines on birds. This is very relevant events to attend if you are in Belgium in October. Precisely about this topic, collaborative action to safeguard bird life. And for this, we have invited today our friend Manon Quetstroey. Manon leads SafeLines4Birds projects and the Renewable Grid Initiative, where she oversees communication, networking, and outreach effort to promote bird safety in energy infrastructure. Manon, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. So Manon, please introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. So as Imad said, my name is Manon and I work at the Renewables Grid Initiative. So for a shortcut, it's RGI. We are an NGO that is based in Berlin, and we are actually part of a consortium partner that's the project that I'm going to introduce to you in a few minutes, that is called SafeLines4Birds. And yeah, that's about it. Should I already share my screen? No, not yet, right?
Just 1 second, I will lay the rules of the webinar. Please remember to mute your microphones, and if you have any question, feel free to interrupt our conversation. So you can also leave your question in the chat section, and we will reply them at the end of the presentation. So thank you. The floor is yours right now, Manu. Thank you.
Thank you. So give me just a few seconds to share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. So I don't see your faces because I'm sharing my screen. So in case there is a question, you just have to shout. So as I was saying, I will present today one of the projects that we have at the Renewables Grid Initiative, which is called SafeLines4Birds. We're not alone in this project. It's a consortium partner of many different organizations. And the objective of this project is to safeguard bird life along the electricity grid. So this project is co-financed by the LIFE program. It's an EU program, and it lasts for 6 years. It started last year and it will run until 2028. The main countries in focus are France, Belgium, and Portugal. And we are 15 partners involved in the project, including distribution system operators, transmission system operators, NGOs, research institutes. Those the logos that you see are all the partners from the project. And we are coming from France, Belgium, Portugal, Germany with us, the Renewables Grid Initiative, and also US. And there are 13 target species. The LPO France, which is the BirdLife partners in France, is the coordinator of this project. We have 4 main objectives in the project, which is first to reduce bird collision, to reduce bird electrocution, bird disturbance, and also one important project is to improve and share knowledge. And this is the part that RGI is responsible for. Those are the beautiful 13 target species that we have in the project. I'm not going to name them all, but as you know, some European species are more vulnerable to electrocution and collision given the size, their morphology, behavior, or the distribution. And that's why we decided to select those 13 species. There are 3 species of vultures that are in this target group that are mostly affected by electrocution.
I can only identify 2.
Sorry?
I only identify 2 vultures. The one first in the left, and then the third in the left. That's the only. I don't know which one is
The stork?
The stork, yes, but the vultures. 3 vultures.
3 vultures.
I don't
Yeah,
know
so we
which
have
one.
the Egyptian vulture, which is I don't know if you can see my mouth, but it's this one.
Yes. Okay, so it's the third one.
The bearded vulture that is here, and we have here my mouse is here, the Cinere's vulture.
Okay, yeah.
But those are the 3. Then we also have the white stork, the black stork, and other species. So just to go into the details of the actions that we have in the project, as I said, the first one, which is actually one of the biggest work package that we have, is to reduce bird collision. And this will focus mainly in France and Belgium. We will, for example, install BFD bird flight diverters. Those are the devices, the anti-collision devices that make the line more visible for birds. For example, this is the down picture. It's one of them that is available on the market. And these devices will be installed on high-risk lines, and in this case, on 60 kilometers of lines. We have identified 3 that we will use, the avisphere, so the round ones, the spirals, this is the picture that you see, but also the fireflies. We will also test new anti-collision devices. And for example, there will be one in particular, which is the Avian Collision Avoidance System, ACAS for shortcut. This is why our partner from US is involved, because it's EDM International, and they are the ones behind this device. And this has proven really good results in the US with the reduction of 98% of collision. Of course, it's still in experiment, and it will be tested for the very first time in Europe throughout our project. So we are very, very excited to see the results, and hopefully it will be similar to what they had in the US. And what does the divider do? It's the picture that you can see on top. It actually uses UV light to make the line more visible at dusk and dawn, because a lot of birds are actually flying during those times to reach their nesting spots or so whatsoever, and then they collide with the line. So thanks to this device, it makes it visible, and then they avoid to collide with the line. Then we will also test innovative installation methods of devices. So for example, the use of drones that will be done in France, mainly on middle voltage power lines. And to reduce the complete risk, to avoid, the complete risk of collision and electrocution, we will also place 15 to 20 kilometers of lines underground in France. So that was for the big, one of the big actions. Of course, there are different ones in the reduced electrocution package, but those were the main ones. The second block is to reduce bird electrocution, and that would be in the 3 countries in focus: France, Belgium, and Portugal. And what are we going to do, for example? So retrofit and insulate dangerous power poles on medium and low voltage networks, but also install deterrence devices to prevent the birds from perching or from nesting This is, for example, what you can see on the top picture that has not really worked in that case because the stork is still nesting there.
Actually,
and
has the opposite effects. It invites them to nest.
sorry?
Sometimes it has the opposite effects because it invites them to nest. This complex shape is perfect for them to make like robust nests.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why we also thought it would be essential to install platforms and perches to protect those birds, to invite them, exactly as you said, Imad, to invite them to perch somewhere else, to perch or nest somewhere else on those platforms that we will install instead of nesting on the pylons. So I will go on if you don't have any questions. Then there's also the third objective, which is to reduce bird disturbance. Because several type of lines, of course, they require maintenance or monitoring operations. This is likely to impact the breeding season of birds that are nesting close to the lines or on the pylons, and sometimes also engineering work or surveillance, like helicopter flying over the lines. This can really have an impact on the breeding success of birds. And that's why in France, we will, for example, adapt green maintenance and surveillance methodology to fit with the breeding season of the target species. And when is possible, also limit the helicopter flying over the breeding size. Of course, when that's possible, because sometimes there are some urgent maintenance work that has to be done, and this is not always possible to avoid it. So this will have an impact, especially on vultures, for example, that are nesting or roosting close by, but also on the osprey and the storks. And this will be mainly in France. The fourth block and big objective is to improve and share knowledge. And again, how I said, this is where RGI is responsible for. So, for example, through dissemination of knowledge, using brochures, social media, conferences, webinars, workshops, so on and so forth. So we already have a project brochure, and now we have a new brochure coming up that will be launched very soon, that shows the importance of collaboration between academia, NGO, and grid operators, showcasing best practices and successful projects that could happen through those collaborations. So it's really to showcase the importance of these cooperations between all key stakeholders. And of course, webinar, workshops, conference, I will come back to that because this is, as Imad said, we also have a big conference coming up in October. So I will tell you a little bit about it later. Then, of course, it goes on with networking with experts. Well, we go to all these kind of events, and when we invited, like today, it's very important that we exchange on our project, but also learn from the others that have done similar projects, or learn from transmission system operators, grid operators in general, etc. So it's really important that we learn from each other.
I agree 100% with you, Manon, because you were before mentioning this aviation collision avoidance system. And remember, Jackie and I last year in November, we were in a conference in Madrid hosted by by SIGRE about bird life protection. And I think our friend Justo, who is here also, they presented a similar solution, which is a beam of light that goes at night, especially on dawn, into the transmission line, so the birds will see it at night. But they had some issues on the implementation because some nearby cities will complain about the luminic contamination. So it's had been still experimented. So you are absolutely right. This kind of networking will bring what have you done here, what we are doing here, and try to like find a solution that will fit for everyone. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I know that some organizations are not always willing to share how we would say failure or something that has not worked, but it's actually essential to do so, because then the others would not replicate the same errors. So it's very important, and of course, good things as well. So that had worked, you should do the same. So it's very important that knowledge is exchanged. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Another key action is to enable better exchange between NGOs and grid operators. And this is also the core activities of RGI, my organization, because RGI is actually a membership NGO, and we are a collaboration between environmental and climate NGOs and transmission system operators in Europe. And all together, we sit at the same table, which is not always easy because those stakeholders have different interests. And we have the discussion and a dialogue how we can actually move forward for a nature-friendly energy transition. So this is what we have achieved in RGI after many, many years. And we want to, of course, share our knowledge and how to do so with many other organizations. So the dialogue is very important. And also another thing that I wanted to share that we will launch in October very soon. We have created on our website, on SafeLines4Birds website, a database of scientific studies on the topic, of course, this topic on bird protection along power line. So the goal of this database is really to gather all scientific studies, so gray literature and peer-reviewed, in one place that is freely accessible to anyone, because we have heard and experienced ourselves that is very, like knowledge is very scattered, and it's not always easy to find the studies. So having a database in one place that anyone can access can really help to share knowledge. And we also put in place, like, to populate this database, users will be able to submit their own studies by just filling out an easy form on our website. And then you can include the link to your study and a few details. We review it and then we post it on our website. So this we are very excited about as well, and it will be launched in October. So follow us on social media and our website if you want to hear more about this. Good. So what have we done so far? As I said, we started last year, so we're still in the preparatory action until the end of 2024, but we still have done a lot. So, for example, one of the action that we've done was GPS tracking of black storks in France. So actually, this electrocution and collision are primary cause of the black stork mortality in France, but there's a lot of there's not enough data available on this matter. So it's really important to gather data to pinpoint the high-risk areas for this species and then facilitate the implementation of mitigation measures. So to do so, we have equipped in France 38 juveniles. They were tagged and equipped with GPS technology. And we have already a few results that show a significant impact of power lines on the species. For example, we already found 2 carcasses in a nest. So 2 carcasses of juvenile in a nest that was the parents were electrocuted by power lines, and it led to the death of the 2 juveniles. And there was also 4 carcasses found in Portugal and France that were attributed to collision. So we can already see after a few months that power lines have I mean, we already knew it, but it is very clear now that power lines have a huge impact on this species.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
And it's a high percentage.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So that's that's sad results, but it also will help us to better understand the issue, and along with other existing data, this will play a key role to identifying the high risk areas for the species, like the nests location, the feeding location, so on and so forth, and then to implement mitigation measures. Yes, so as I said, it plays a crucial role in that. And this action will be replicated in Belgium and for a second year of monitoring in France. So this was the first year of monitoring in France. We will have a second one, plus 2 years of monitoring in Belgium.
And in Belgium, we also be with black storks?
Yes, it would also be with black storks, yeah. So that was one of the action that we done. There was another one, of course, a few other ones, but I would like to mention this one. We had a workshop last year in November in Berlin that is called Connecting Biodiversity. And this workshop gathered 30 plus NGO participants. So it was exclusively for NGOs. And the outcome of the discussions were summarized in a document that is called 7 Principles from the conservation community. I will share the link in the chat when I'm done with my presentation, so you can all have access to it. And this document has been endorsed by 24 NGOs across 18 countries in Europe. So basically, it's an advocacy document, and it serves as guiding points for decision makers and to really organize further dialogue with relevant stakeholders. So grid operators, of course, but also the regulatory authorities. And these principles are organized in 3 themes: so collaboration, engagement, data, and regulation and guidance. So again, I'm very happy to share the link to this document in a few minutes. Yes, guiding points for decision maker. And of course, we don't want to stop here. And so the NGO community in Europe, they have agreed what actually are the key points to reach a bird-friendly grid in Europe. But we want to continue the conversations, and this time with the grid operators and the regulatory sphere, sorry. And that's why we organized a workshop in this year with the other stakeholders. And that leads to the conference, because the workshop will be organized in parallel of the conference. The Wingspan conference that is happening the 15th to the 18th of October in Brussels. And this really we want to highlight the importance of partnerships for a bird-friendly energy transition. So we're not only covering the grid, but we're also covering onshore wind energy, because the energy transition, of course, is much bigger than just the grid. And we have conservationists, NGO scientists, renewable developers, grid operators, government representatives that are going to be here. And together we'll discuss how to reach a bird-friendly energy transition. I also want to mention that we co-organize, so RGI co-organizes this conference with 2 organizations, TB Rab, which is a consulting office in Austria, and Elia Group, which is transmission system operators operating in Belgium and Germany. We will have different activities together with the conference itself. We have a networking dinner, we have a vendor fair, we have a field trip organized by Elia, and we have the workshop that I mentioned where grid operators and NGOs will come together and discuss the principles, the advocacy principles that the NGO community has endorsed. So really, we want to follow up on the discussions. It's really important that we also get the grid operators on board. On the conference, we are sold out, so it's a very good thing for us. We're very happy that we have so much interest, but due to the high demand, we have the possibility now to attend online. So again, I can share the link in the chat if any one of you is interested to join us online. And that was the end of my presentation. You can contact us. So myself, Manon, and Ingrid from LPO, who is the coordinator of the project. And you can also follow us. This is the QR code that leads to our website, and you will find on our website our social media accounts. We post very regularly about the news and anything that is happening throughout the project. So thanks a lot. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Manon, thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation and for all the insights you have shared with us. And congratulations for the necessary and good work you guys are doing, honestly, because and I have to be extremely honest, ruthlessly honest here. Grid operators, they are worried about grid operation, obviously, and birds are worried about their lives, and manufacturers that provide solutions like us are worried about providing solutions to protect the others. However, no one has a genuine interest on the birds, and you guys bring this genuine interest, and I honestly think that we should be more grateful to initiatives like yours, because sometimes you put the light and we analyze things from another point of view. Not every time is comfortable, the solution that you guys bring, but I believe they are necessary. So once again, thank you very much for the good job that you are doing, and for the task of making everyone aware of the dimension of the problem. So that's great job from your side. Thank you very much. Anyone has any question? Jackie, do we have questions in the chat? Yes.
No questions yet.
No questions. That was very clear. Everything is extremely clear. Yes, I wanted to ask you why the focus on Belgium, France, is other countries not interested into collaborating, or they have their own programs? I'm going to speak about Spain because I know very well the situation in Spain. Spain is very advanced in terms of wildlife protection, extremely wildlife. And they have a robust database. I know the main grid operator, Red Electrica, has very powerful database with location of bird electrocution and collision and stuff like this. Why there are not like this big collaboration between all entities?
So for this specific project, I mean, we had, if I'm not mistaken, we had Spain, we had discussions with Spain, of course, but you also have to limit the actions to a few countries. Otherwise, it gets too big and it's difficult. But I want to say that in RGI, we do have many countries in focus that are part of our membership. So Spain is one of them. Of course, Red Electrica is one of our members, and that we're very proud of, to have this this big network of European organizations within RGI.
Okay, perfect. And you said in the event there will be vendor fair, meaning that some solution providers will be there?
Yes, exactly. Yes, that we have 6 or 7 vendor manufacturers that will be there, not only on power lines. So we have a few on electrocution, a few on collision, and also related to wind energy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, also that is a growing problem right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were worried about collision and electrocution, and now we have the wind that also bring another dimension of and complications. Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't want to end this with all negative. There is one small positive part of power lines, and precisely in the event, Justo Martin also was there. Hola Justo, in November or October, I don't remember, 2023. They also said that some species somehow they use the power lines to nest, but not on the top, like in the middle, and it's becoming like part of their habitat. Have you seen something like this in your study?
Personally not, but I have heard of it, of course, and you're right. It's actually it's good to mention that power lines not only have a negative impact on wildlife, but also can enhance biodiversity. And we have, of course, it's been studying that it's the case. And as you said, then wildlife can come back. As I know, for example, in Slovakia, I've heard my colleagues from Slovakia speaking about that for the falcon, that power lines help to bring back with nesting boxes, stuff like this. So it is not only negative, of course. We also have to mention this.
Yeah, that is why I am firm believer of, in this case, of passive solution. I'm not believer of like 0 or 1, but I believe on if you retrofit the line or the substation or whatever, you need to make it easy for the operator to operate, but at the same time for the bird or the animal to interact. So without like frictionless, that's my opinion. Whether from the design part, you design it in a way that is going to be less harmful, but for the existing one, maybe adding elements that are very easy to install and frictionless, so the bird will nest there and take over and not being electrocuted. So that is my opinion. Sometimes it's very difficult to implement, but that's what I believe, to have something easy for both parts.
Yes, absolutely, you're right. And there is a difference to make between existing power lines and new construction. So, for example, in France, and I think in Austria as well, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the new medium voltage power lines are underground, so at least when it's possible. So this is also reducing the risk for birds completely. But for existing power lines, you're right, you have to retrofit and you have to find other solutions that are existing gladly. Yeah.
And in Spain, they already designed with wildlife protection in mind. So the insulators are over-dimensioned in a way that the bird will not get electrocuted. So you will not have to add these extra covers or elements. It's already in the design, but still, the existing one always will be more than the new one. So you need to have it. Yeah. Well, that's perfect. If anyone has any questions, if not, we are going to say, give a big hug to Manon and looking forward to seeing her in October in the event.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to see you as well.
To each one of you, I say thank you very much from the warm and today sunny Vienna. Thank you, Elena. Elena is coming to us from Ukraine. Thank you so much. I have another colleague coming to us from Saudi Arabia, Nasser. So Justo from Spain. No,
Brian from Ireland.
Yeah, Brian from Ireland. Yeah, Brian is an entity and an expert in the subject.
Yes, we know Brian very well.
Peter from Austria, the most handsome one in the audience, Peter. Thank you so much.
Have a nice day. Thank you, everyone.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.